What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news, coming in the form of This Week at Bungie, of course for the first time in 2021. We do get some much needed communication from Bungie, of course after a quiet spell over the holiday season, and today they talk about how they're going to be making adjustments to vendors in Season 13, as well as rewards from the Dreaming City and the Moon, and then some sandbox tuning that they've got planned for Hunter stasis abilities in the Crucible. There are going to be some interesting changes coming up over the next few weeks, so we're going to break it all down in this first edition of This Week at Bungie for the year. As always, give us all of your thoughts down below, but now let's get into it. They point out that we do have 4 TWABs between now and a fresh season of new content starting with Season 13 in February. And so firstly, they're going to speak about some changes coming in Season 13. So they have a rewards update planned for the Dreaming City and the Moon. And they say since the launch of Beyond Light, we've been collecting what feels like a metric ton of feedback on various Destiny systems. But for the moment, they have more details on rewards from 2 of the more recent destinations. So jumping straight into changes for those rewards, in Season 13, they will be reissuing Dreaming City Reverie Dawn and Moon Dreambane armor. These are going to drop with high stats when earned in the Shattered Throne or Pit of Heresy, and the final chest in the Pit of Heresy will no longer drop a fully masterworked Dreambane armor piece, but instead, the Dreambane armor piece that drops will have 7 armor energy and is guaranteed to drop with at least a plus 16 in 2 different stats and higher stats overall. And then additionally, Dreambane class items will not drop from the chest. Of course, this is kind of an interesting situation because some of these items have started sunsetting recently, or at least the original versions of those items. That's the thing that players are definitely going to talk about as well, but for more of the changes first, they're also reissuing 4 weapons for Dreaming City with new perk pools, so Waking Vigil, Sleepless, Vouchsafe, and Retold Tale. And Dreaming City weapons that drop in the Shattered Throne dungeon can roll with perks that are unavailable from drops from other reward sources. And then they've reissued 4 weapons for the Moon, also with new perks that'll include Premonition from the Pit of Heresy, and then Heretic, Blasphemer, and Apostate. And weapons that drop in the Pit of Heresy dungeon can roll with perks that are unavailable from drops from other reward sources. And then in addition, they are expanding Lost Sector Legend and Master Rotation to 4 of the Moon Lost Sectors, so that's K1 Logistics, Communication, Crew Quarters, and Revelation. And Bungie say that they're making these changes to help preserve the relevancy of the destinations, specifically some of the pinnacle endgame activities that still exist there. And they say to get more specific around the actual experience, activities where reissues are required to be heavily weighted towards rewarding reissued gear over capped gear, though the exact weighting and mechanisms may differ. For example, in the Dreaming City, if you already have obtained an infusion capped weapon, it will not drop for you again. And while not every gear source will be kept up to date for the entire lifetime these destinations are available, we do believe there's a high value in targeting some specific activity drops for continued relevancy, to give you more options for where to spend your time as you seek to improve your arsenal. Of course, in terms of targeting those specific drops again, going for unique perk rolls that are being reintroduced, or of course the high stat rolls, I think that in itself is definitely positive, but once again, there will be a conversation about the fact that some of these items had started to sunset, but at the same time, in terms of those pinnacle activities, it's an overall positive that they continue to be relevant, especially considering that this isn't brand new Season 13 content in itself, right? So give us your thoughts about that, but there are also going to be some fairly significant reward changes for playlist activities. So they say since D2 launched, Guardians have been amassing vendor reputation tokens, and these could be turned in for legendary gear, which would usually be dismantled for legendary shards and materials, but look into the future. They're happy to announce some changes coming soon to Crucible and Gambit, as well as the Strike reward structure. And so firstly, they will be adding 2 new unique weapon rewards to each of the 3 playlists. These weapons are in addition to the ones added in Season of the Hunt, and continue to have a small chance to drop at the end of each activity. But secondly, starting in Season 13 for Gambit and the Crucible, and that will be Valor Crucible, and in future seasons for Strikes, rank rewards will be visible on ritual vendors, and each season you'll be greeted by a row of rewards, progression towards which will be earned automatically as you complete relevant playlist activities. And so instead of having rank rewards dropped automatically into the loot stream, they will now be picked up manually from vendor lists. And of course, that automatic progression essentially means a reputation system that doesn't include tokens. They show us an image right here of how those rewards are going to kind of appear on the screen. And they say progression is on a per ritual basis, so you can be rank 10 for Crucible and rank 4 for Gambit, and we'll reset ranks right at the vendor by picking up the final reward for the season. So rewards for each individual rituals are as follows. Rank 4 will give you 3 upgrade modules, rank 7, 3 enhancement cores, rank 10, a seasonal ritual shader, which changes to 3 enhancement cores after resetting your rank. Rank 13 is 2 enhancement prisms, rank 16 is a seasonal ritual emblem, and this changes to 2 enhancement prisms after resetting your rank. And the reset reward will be an Ascendant Shard, which changes to an exotic engram once you've reset once. Also, every rank up will award a base ritual engram, just like it does at the moment, and each of the ranks that we just mentioned will also award a prime ritual engram. That's an interesting kind of mix-up to the reward systems in those playlists. We can see right here some of the materials that will also be listed in the inventory. However, bear in mind, Bungie say right here, due to the new automated progression system, Crucible tokens and Crucible token gifts are no longer needed and will be deprecated into junk that will delete as a full stack starting in Season 13. So basically cash those tokens in before the end of this season, because they are essentially being completely removed from the game. Overall, in terms of how that system works at the moment, I'm fairly open to Bungie completely mixing it up. Looks like it could be a general quality of life improvement right there. I'd definitely be curious to get some thoughts from you guys down below. But right here they talk about Stasis. So they point out that before the holidays they had a round of tuning for Warlocks, and next up they're going to be looking at Hunters. So they list a few different goals, and they say for short-term goals, they address Outlier Stasis abilities to keep subclass decision-making interesting, and they want to reduce the potency of Shadow Dive and Whisper of Fissures against Guardians, going live with update 3.02, which will actually be launching on the 19th of January. So for Shadow Dive, it now has damage fall-off versus on frozen targets. The max range damage has been reduced from 50 to 5, and damage reduction during ability has been reduced from 50% to 25%. For Whisper of Fissures, they've reduced the maximum minimum damage versus non-super players from 42 and 22 respectively to 30 and 4. Reduced maximum and minimum damage versus super players from 42 and 22 to 16 and 2. And then reduced the detonation radius versus players from 10 meters to 9 meters. But also, they want to investigate the efficacy of Titan Stasis Behemoth Super and let the above changes settle in to see where Behemoth stands in the PvP hierarchy, but it is next on the radar. So that's interesting, but they say in terms of midterm goals, they want to improve PvP subclass usage and win rate balance, so addressing Stasis ability outliers will help us lower the ceiling, but they also want to pull up other underperforming light subclasses, and another midterm goal is to review our ability to gunplay balance in PvP. They say especially in 3v3 playlists, the usage of abilities has climbed as they've introduced more and more ways to charge them quickly, and they're still in the very early discussions, but they're looking into restoring a better balance where proper gunplay is rewarding in these playlists. And so give us your thoughts about those changes down below. There will definitely be a few different opinions. I'll be curious to see how it all plays out inside of the Crucible especially. And again on January 19th, at Weekly Reset, that is when this update is going to roll out. And there should be a few other fixes in there as well. We'll get patch notes next week. And so guys, that does it for the TWAB portion of the video right there. Once again, give us any thoughts down below. Those changes to the Dreaming City and Moon rewards, but also those ritual playlist adjustments with reputation changes and stuff. Bear in mind to turn those Crucible tokens in, and once again, we're going to have that update on Tuesday, so drop us your thoughts down in the comment section. Finally, right here, I wanted to speak a little bit about some of the content that remains this season, before the start of Season 13, of course, in February. And a couple of those main pieces of content will be related to the Hawkmoon. So stuff that we've spoken about this week includes players finding a new area which houses the Hawkmoon-esque ship. And Crow's known about this one for a little while. But in addition, there was a hidden tunnel found in the EDZ just yesterday. And this one comes to a dead end, but clearly is waiting in reserve for some upcoming content. Players have pointed out that there are different terminals, things like a laptop, and various different switches hidden around the reservoir, including inside of the hidden tunnel, but it looks fairly likely that this is upcoming mission or quest content, and the assumption is that these will be the final couple of quests that we have for the crew in Season 12, ultimately allowing us to acquire the ship. And then also in addition, Cheese Forever did share a while ago that an upcoming version of the Hawkmoon Reforged mission was shown in the UI with various enemy modifiers, so it looks like farming that original mission will be important for those random roles, separately to the continuation of the quest. So all of that stuff is bound to be somewhat interesting when it does happen, but I've got a feeling that it'll show up as a quest when it's time. Let us know what you think down below. Then as far as we know, the coup de grace mission and the Wrathporn portion of things is kind of wrapped up. But of course, Spider actually freed the crow, so at some point, I'm guessing it's going to leave the Tangled Shore and the Spider's Den. And then there is Osiris and Zavala. And we learned recently from some lore tabs that Osiris has become the Vanguard assistant or advisor to Zavala. And it seems clear now that from this cinematic that Bungie teased before Beyond Light, we are looking at content which is at least part of the transition to Season 13, if not actually part of Season 13. So story-wise, things are quite interesting right now, but hopefully gameplay changes and reveals for next season are also bound to start ramping up in 2 or 3 weeks' time. And that'll be outside of the details that we may get randomly from community managers twabs and things like that. So keep posting on the channel, guys. But for now, be sure to give us your thoughts on what Bungie have spoken about in this first post of the year. Quite a few things to think about in the game in general, especially as we approach the start of a new season. So if you do want to keep up to date on the world of Destiny, all of the new content, and news from Bungie as soon as we get it, then feel free to get subscribed. But also, if you have enjoyed the video, a like rating down below very much helps us out as well. And for now, guys, as always, thanks a bunch for tuning in, and whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.